Man, Sosa, what's this podcast about again?
Hey, bro, why are you always getting ahead of yourself?
I don't know. I'm just really
We got to
wondering.
thank everybody for watching first.
I don't even know what we're doing
thank
here
everybody
today.
for watching.
Super concerned.
This is For the Love, a podcast about community, knowledge, culture, and current events.
Damn.
Watch as we try not to get canceled.
No more canceling. So we got guests today. This is crazy, man. I've never usually podcasts like slow roll into guests, and you just like go full bore right into it. But one test run and then guests. I like it. But I think you're bringing the guests here to tell a little bit about their story, but also to just run some current events by them and see where we go.
Correct. To see what they're thinking about and see where they're at. We got some future billionaires on the show today.
Okay. Do you want to introduce them to our audience?
No.
You want them to introduce themselves?
First of all, I want Lotto to talk before 36 minutes.
Hey, what's up,
I feel
guys?
like if he doesn't get warmed up, he just drops
I know
bombs.
Lalo didn't talk at all.
Get him a cocktail, dude. That will solve it all.
Everyone talked all
You
podcasts.
don't want to see Lalo drunk.
And Lalo didn't talk
I
at
don't
all,
know.
but
He's
he
pretty
made
cool.
the cut for his episode 2. And you
love
put
it.
everyone else on the bench. I see how it is.
Correct,
Yeah. Maybe you're trying to tell me I'm talking too much, so you want me not to talk as much.
The one that was talking too much was RD. He got too many likes.
Yeah, he
I
got
felt
a lot
like
of followers too.
Yeah, he did.
Can't be happening.
So, how do you want to do this? We got
I guess if you don't want to introduce them, they should introduce themselves, and they can maybe give a
yeah, but
little
that's
quick-
kind of awkward. Like they just introducing themselves.
I'm Jordan Greenfield
Dang, I like it. I like just taking charge.
from Boston originally.
Ooh.
Moved here during the pandemic. Founded my businesses out of Las Vegas. Vegas has been good to us.
Woo.
I actually moved back to Boston for a year. I had a baby boy who's just turned 1.
Congrats.
I just bought a house about 2 miles down the road, and I am pumped to be back in Vegas.
Hell yeah.
Founded Hoobie, founder of Alativa, a skincare company. We got some supporters in here tonight. And blessed to be here. Appreciate you, Sosa.
Of course.
My name's Arlin, also from Boston. Boston boys here.
Go Yankees.
East Coast gang. I see it.
East Coast gang. I started a YouTube channel in college. Just started documenting my life. Shared what a lot of people, I guess, were curious about, which is like, what is college like in America? And grew the channel. No crazy numbers, but a couple 100,000 followers here and there over the last several years. And have just transitioned that into online businesses, selling stuff to my following. Right now, the main thing I do is a coaching program. So I help guys develop essentially social skills, improve their networking and dating skills and stuff like that. And I also have a baby nephew. And I'm also very, very close to Jordan and the Hoobie world that he has built. And have also been recently introduced into this world here. And it's a loving family, and I love it here. So I'm very excited.
What are you doing tomorrow, Arlen?
I'm flying to Cape Town, South Africa tomorrow.
Why?
I'm going to I actually told Sosa about this. I'm going to a networking.
Brother, you just ruined the magic. I asked you why, and I'm supposed to not know why. So
I didn't even know who was talking. I thought that was God. I was like, yo, who's talking?
Okay, yeah, I was confused too. But yeah,
it was
Where
God.
did that come from? This shit is impersonal.
we're all an expression of God.
Yeah, I dig it. Don't go
I
that
am
way.
God.
Let's not go there. But tell us what you're doing in Cape Town.
Hey, cut that one out. We don't want
Now I'm going to Cape Town, South Africa tomorrow. It's there's this NFT project that I'm a part of called Gents Croquet Club. And it's like a group of entrepreneurs. There's 1,000 tokens, and you buy one, and you're a part of this group. And there's live events, and one of them's in Cape Town. So going to Cape Town.
How long is the airplane flight to Cape Town?
Well, it's Vegas to San Francisco.
Okay, that's an hour.
San Francisco.
That sounds
the
fucking
other
indirect.
way. San Francisco to Doha, Qatar,
Oof.
and then Qatar to Cape Town. So
Did you get one of those ones that's
Well, I'll
like
put
a
it this
bed?
way: I leave the 11th, and I get there on the 13th.
Yikes!
Arlen treats himself well, dude. He'll be.
You're gonna get one of those little pods, right?
Yeah, he'll be vertical the whole flight.
I like it. Xanaxed out. I like it.
That's not his. But see where you're going.
How long is that? How long is the preparation for something? How long you be out there?
How long is the preparation?
Well,
Or-
2 questions. Sorry. How long? Like leading up to a trip, right? I'm assuming you're not going there for 2 days or even a week.
Before
2 weeks.
Arlen jumps in, Arlen lives like that lifestyle that like every kid that's 16, 17 wants to live right now. He doesn't have anything holding him down. He's got his girl. He's got his laptop. He's got his suitcase. He was in Dubai last month. He's in South Africa next month. he's just freaking, he's on the move always.
Yeah, I'm like an internet kid, like just grew up on the internet and just, all my friends are make money online people. Like I don't have an apartment right now. Like I had one for a year lease last year and I wasn't there for 6 months. I actually split it with Casson. You guys know Casson.
That would give me crazy anxiety.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't though, because he travels like you go into this kid, he'll spend whatever on these shoes or whatever that is, this watch, whatever it is. You go into his closet, you can fill it all up in one suitcase. He's freaking. It's like he lives like the minimalist lifestyle, but in the most luxurious way possible.
No, I'm for that. I used to deal with guys that would come in and buy a pair of new shoes, and they would like take off the shoes off their feet and be like, "Throw these away," and I'd be like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, they just walk away, like as much as I could carry on myself, right?
Yeah.
That's got to be half the battle. Is
I vibe with that though. Like I think more things I add to my life like that. I'm not saying like I don't like I like nice things too, but like
I like a few nice things.
Your stuff becomes a burden though.
Exactly.
Like, like that George Carlin skit. Like you buy stuff to put stuff in stuff, and like then you get stuff, and other people's stuff is shit, and your stuff is always stuff. And it's like it's kind of like that weird concept in life. It's like you want to just consume and consume. So how do you maintain just this backpack lifestyle? Do you always, if it doesn't fit in my backpack, it doesn't fuck with me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I get rid of stuff all the time, but I also like use stuff down to the bone. Like I'll wear these. First of all, I want to do a lot of podcasts this year. So like, I guess it's a good talking point. I'll be on camera a lot, like,
So we're going to mark that these will be in all the podcasts this
probably. Sick. And then and I'll wear them like probably every day for like 6 months, and then they'll be worn to shit. And
but I heard like a fight between him and his girl because they were in Europe last summer, and Arlen needed a suit for some event, and it was like $2,500, and Arlen fucking
the suit was $300.
Oh, 300. And you threw it out or whatever.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, we had to go to so I was in Europe this summer, did the whole like Europe circuit in the summer. And and there was this like, it was the, it was the day before the Grand Prix, the Cannes Film Fest. Oh. And there was like a after party that my friend is like really weirdly plugged with like those kind of Europe things. It was Leonardo DiCaprio's like after party for the Cannes Film Fest. And I was like, I don't have a suit. So I went to Zara and I spent like $300 on a suit, and I wore it there, and it was an amazing time, like unforgettable. And then we had 2 months left of this Europe trip. And my girlfriend's like, you need to save the suit. I'm like, I'm not saving the suit. Yeah, like, leave it. If I need another suit sometime in the next 2 months, like
300 is more relatable. I thought it was 2,500.
But I did the math too. Like that makes my suitcase overweight. If my suitcase is overweight, now it's $70 every time I get on a flight more. So it's actually less economical to keep the suit. We could have shipped it home, but I was like,
I like how you chose a few pairs of pants over the suit pants. So you're like, these green pants are way cooler than these suit pants. So I'm gonna keep these.
Yeah.
No, but that's I actually like kind of in a weird way kind of idolize that kind of mindset and that kind of lifestyle. Like that. What was that lady during the pandemic that told you to like take all your stuff and thank it for its time and then like give it away? She was like a minimalist in a sense, right? And I've always like really been attracted to minimalist lifestyles, but I've just never been able to adapt to that kind of concept.
I'm envious of it too. Yeah. And like what he has going on right now, like I will never have a choice to do anything remotely close to that again, because I told you I got the 1-year-old baby boy. But it's like Arlen's the type of guy, when I need to work, I need everything situated. I need my desk. I need my screen. I need freaking the right dose of Adderall. I need like everything to be perfect there. Arlen can like go sit down on the beach with his laptop for an hour, be like do an hour of work. He'll put the laptop down. He'll walk by us and be like, just did 25K in sales and life coaching. It's like, how the fuck did you do? Like, I couldn't have written 5 emails in that amount of time. How the hell did you just do that? But it's cool, and I hope that like the young kids see the opportunity, that it's like it's hustle and it's smarts behind it, but it's like there's very unique ways to build a really cool life right now.
Yeah. So is that trip to Cape Town through Hoobie, or is that through the? I know you mentioned you're doing there for NFT projects. Is there any
correlation between Hoobie? No, but pretty much everywhere I go, like Hoobie's a topic.
So are you into the NFT scene? Do you really? How do you feel about that scene?
I like the NFT scene. Yeah. I've been doing my hours of research, and
so they're not a scam.
The one I'm in is definitely not a scam. There's no way it could possibly be a scam.
No,
I think it's one of the unique projects that actually isn't a scam. But there definitely are scams. And I have a lot of friends that are heavy into crypto, and like they're very heavy into it, and they're very successful with it. But they're very upfront that it is a Ponzi scheme. Like most of crypto is literally a scam.
Yeah, it's kind of like that Gary V mentality. Like, like he said, like of all like original.com websites, like 1% will stick around. It's kind of like in the sense of like NFTs. It's like you got to kind of like pick and choose which ones will actually hold weight or tread water 10 years from now, right? And you could be like really dabbling in something that like as a token, I think more relevance in the tokens and like the utilitarian side of that rather than like the NFT side of like, I'm going to buy this for low and then sell it for the high.
Right.
Because I like when companies say, hey, as an investor structure, like come in, get a token, we'll buy in low, and then eventually this token might be worth money. And if you did invest in us and you believed in us from the jump, then it could be profitable in various channels or maybe profitable in monetary value as well.
I think it's like for what I've picked up on with the NFT stuff is like there's a level of technology that needs to like hold up the infrastructure, and there's certain tech things that need to be checked off the list in order for these different NFTs to be successful. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of it depends on, and there are certain brands like Bored Apes that like just went above and beyond in terms of taking off from a brand standpoint. But I think a lot of it relies on the founders of the actual NFTs themselves, and like, do one of them end up getting canceled? Do one of them do something frigged up? Did you see stuff like what just happened with Logan Paul, or like even there's been scrutiny around like the Nelk guys, and I'm sure people are just going after them because of how big they are. But there's a lot of people, and I think it's with a turn with obviously we're going through a terrible financial market now, so everyone's going to point fingers and start rashing out, losing it on people. But I think the founders play a big role in the success of these different NFTs.
100%. Hey, Lalo, you hold any crypto? You got any wallets?
I do not.
What's up? You don't believe in it?
Man, well, it's theirs. I believe in it. But
what do you mean? It's not there. It's in the world. It's in the ether. It's like in the never was. But you still believe in it. Why don't you get on it? Who else? You got some?
Of course.
Why are you so quiet, Sosa?
I'm just listening to the conversation.
I don't like it.
What do you got? Did you get some NFTs? I know all your boys probably got the...
Well, yeah, so like super heavy into the NFT market right off the bat, but what scared me was like the gas fees. And I could never really equate in my mind to like pay like a transaction fee. Like that was equivalent to what I wanted to pay for the actual piece, right?
Yeah.
And I think I missed the ball right off the gate, like on like the cool ones that might have been, and not obviously missed the Bored Apes, but there was other ones, pigs and other animals that trended for a moment. But right now I feel that the coolest thing as an artist, I really like the blockchain and how it's going to like do the smart contracts and the repayment, and like, even in the art world itself, and like they call it provenance, is like you can look at the history of who owns certain paintings. And I really think that there's been so much like black market and fakes and stuff like that this will legitimize that as well. And I have a lot of faith in the blockchain more or less than the actual NFT market.
Yeah.
So I think I didn't personally.
Well, NFT was kind of like the testing ground for like, I feel like a lot of it was like everyone jumped from Web 2 to Web 3 so fast when there was still, to your point about Gary Vee, people were still like trying to feel out what is this really. I think
everyone thought there was like a lottery, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll buy a ticket. I'm just going to be worth some money. And I was like, man, maybe that wasn't the best move out the gate.
But it's so fucked though. Like I literally, my college bar in Fairfield, Connecticut, I graduated college in 2014. There was one of the Bitcoin ATMs there. Like I'm there freaking just like being an idiot, throwing away money. Like imagine if I just like bought, and there's got to be kids in my graduating class or the years before that just like either had it and just sat on it and like had some Bitcoin, or they ended up losing their freaking login.
I don't think that's a good argument though, because say you bought it in 2014 and you bought it at $100 and it goes to $5,000, are you going to hold it?
I mean,
how many times is that, right? So I hear that if I would have got in and stuff like that, not to contradict you, but like, I think it's a game of who got in first, like that information, right? Like basically insider trading when it's going to pump. And then if it doesn't have like a utility, then you have to get out of it, right? Like yours has most utility behind it, where like a Bored Ape doesn't really have a utility. You're not going to get on a yacht, right? Like
that's why I think like I supported I talked through it literally last night with Arlen, but I think you spend tens of thousands of bucks on these, or you could sell them now for tens of thousands of bucks. But I see the value he's getting out of it without even that price tag on them. Like he's in it for the utility of it and the network of it and all that. So he's getting his money's worth every step along the way, which is like if you can find NFT projects where you're getting that value every day when you're still holding them, then it's a no-brainer. What do you think? What do you guys think about? Just an interesting topic for me because it touched our world a little bit. The FTX stuff.
I think there's a lot more behind it that meets the eye, right? FTX, like we have to look at the bank that funds all the crypto, like in and out, right? Like how do you turn your fiat currency into cryptocurrency? And then you can start looking at what's in trouble and what's over leveraged. And you can almost start picking these apart, right? So like I had a feeling about FTX about 2 months ago. And I said it to all the guys here. Everybody thought I was crazy. Then it happened, right? I think...
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
So you don't think that Bank Friedman was just like doing some real scandalous shit? You think that did he get poached by Binance and then like they marketed and he had to buy him out, or was he just living that lifestyle with yachts and like expenses? And
well, it was definitely crazy shit. And then you had all the celebrities. This is why, because we were closer with Tom's team and Tom was tied to that.
So I think what happened there is that it's more of a situation that he was put in than him creating that situation. Right. I don't know him personally, but I don't think that's a one person thought. Right. Like I believe that's a team of people that happened. And I think that it was a way to generate money off the books to make things look a little bit more legitimate. And I'm talking about like political people that got money, countries that got money, arenas that got money. So almost like, I don't want to say a cabal, but almost like a confluence of people, because there's people that are not going to get their money back. And those are the ones that jumped in late. And then there's people that got their money back. If you look at it.
I think those outside people and like the politics and stuff that you're talking about, I don't think that they directly knew when Sam was making those decisions of what he was doing there internally. I don't think the external people in politics or whatever it is knew the impact on the business it was going to have. I think Sam was a case of like, if you look at like Billy McFarland. Billy McFarland's the Firefest founder.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And the reason like I like this topic is because these young entrepreneurs that end up doing stuff with people's money that they say they're not going to do. I'm sorry, I'm boxing you up, bro. I feel bad.
Damn, Lolo, step in.
Yeah. But they end up doing stuff with investors' money that they say they're not going to do. That ends up giving a lot of older investors, and I'm older, I just turned 30, but I'm saying like these investors in their early 20s that are going out and raising money that are actually doing things the right way, these bad actors end up giving a bad taste in their mouth to all investors for like, this is going to be another case of Firefest or of FTX. But I think it's a very similar thing where they had too big of shoes to fill. Like I think that Billy McFarland wanted Firefest to be a success. He was trying to do everything in his power to make it a success. But as part of that, he started a series of lies that he couldn't catch up to. And I think that Sam Bankman-Fried stuff was the same thing.
So let me ask you a question. Would you invest in something that doesn't have a risk assessment?
I mean, I do. Anytime I write a check for something, I do my own risk assessment.
Correct, right? But if something can go wrong, it probably will. If there's no checks and balances, right? Would you take that big of a risk?
Yeah, but things going wrong and things failing is completely different.
Not going wrong.
But I'm saying that the driver of the ship, if they're telling false facts, that's a completely different case than a competitor coming in or an API changing that you no longer have access to or something of that nature.
What I'm saying is, if, for example, you're investing a shit ton of money into something, right? Yeah. And the owner can take that money without accountability and withdraw it without you knowing, without an email or without an alert coming up, that's probably something that you're not going to invest in.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. When you're talking FTX.
Like, for example, you raised rounds of funding for Hoobie, right?
But like my investors don't get a notification when we spend.
But they get a quarterly, right?
Yeah,
so,
they investor up.
FTX didn't have that.
Yeah.
Right? So like that's something that's a red flag for anybody. The only reason that people invested in it is because the lottery ticket. Right? It's not because it was like the soundest of investments. And I believe the government knew because it's primed for securities fraud, which is what he got caught on.
But I think
the red flag, go ahead.
Like to McFarland or Sam or any of those people, there's like, when I watched the documentary, I always felt that there was just so many yes men. Like there's people in the middle that could have been saying no to these people, like, and stepping in and being like, we can't do X, Y, and Z. And eventually it feels like either they get replaced or terminated or like cut out of the picture and they're not in the cool guy group anymore. And I feel like if you create a good company, you need people that are going to come to you and be like,
this isn't right.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Or, no, you can't do that. And if you don't have that, then that's where you're talking about, where there's this like kind of all kinds of, either McFarlane, where he's just kind of like, I'm just pushing along. Either all these people are saying like, no, these people don't have places to stay. And he's just like, yeah, I don't like hearing no. So just say yes to me and just trucking along. Or it's Sam doing some side hustle and no one's like really.
But do you know what happened, right? Do you know what actually happened with FTX?
The other exchange guy owned friggin' whatever 20% of their stuff and yeah.
So what the domino that fell was, so when you are there was a bunch of institutions lending money against crypto, right, as a hedge fund, right? The formula is 10%. So if you have $100, you can only borrow $10, right? Mm-hmm. So what ended up happening is he couldn't get a bank to lend him the amount of money that he wanted. So he used his own hedge fund to lend money to his. So then on paper, it ballooned his valuation up. Then he got investors to come in and say, hey, look, this is our valuation. Look at the loan that we got.
He made a fake token.
Correct. But the token was where the money was. But the fraud happened because he lent himself money from Alameda, which is his hedge fund. And up to that point, right, like there was a lot of return. What they didn't bank on was Bitcoin dipping the way that it did, right? So that's where the fraud came in.
So do you think Sam's a bad actor, or do you think he just made a big mistake?
He definitely lied.
Yeah, I think he's part of the machine. I don't think he's like the head of the machine.
Do you think his physical, personal like appearance doesn't do him any services?
I think it helps him.
I mean, when I got into crypto late, I mean, I know Sosa's been in crypto a while, but when I got into it like at the tail end of the last bull run, and I remember seeing like all these signs of Sam Bankman-Friedman around, like with FTX, and I'm like, I'm not investing in that guy. Like,
but no, that's the guy. Okay.
It's like that Coney guy from back in the day. Like, I don't trust that guy.
Yeah.
If you go to an investment banker and they're driving a Porsche or a Lamborghini, you're probably not going to invest in them. Does anybody know why?
Why?
Because they're too flashy, right? If you're investing in somebody that's building a technology, do you want them to look like an investment banker or talk like an investment banker? That would be more of a red flag than the way he is. But he was
lying though, because
I'm not defending.
But I will say
he's living in a freaking $250,000 a month spot in Bahamas.
But why is he living in the Bahamas?
Well, but I was going to go back to that because I think that you had a great point about the fact that he's not surrounding himself with smart people in the space. Because if you look back at Theranos, which was the biotech company years ago, she got all of the biggest lieutenants from the army and all the biggest credible names, but no one in science, because nobody could sit there and say this isn't going to work because of this fact. And I think Sam did the same thing, and then I think you start piling celebrities on top of that, and people don't really question it. I think the offshore thing is like a red flag right away, because I think that what the crypto space needs, and I don't know the crypto space too well, but if you look at like the SEC or all these like these big dark demons in the financial world where people don't want to get them going in there quarterly and looking at the numbers, I think you need like an independent thing in crypto where it's a board of people and regulation, but you don't have to as a coin or as a platform. If you're not a public company, you don't have to have them come in and check on stuff. But if you want to get that check of verification that like these 10 huge names in the crypto or the financial world came off and gave us the sign off this quarter, so you don't have to show your entire hand if you're a private company.
I don't think that would work, because then it will centralize crypto, right?
I think you need some like security,
but just a balance sheet, just a balance sheet of the company.
There's a balance sheet, but the essence of like it's basically security fraud. That's why it's not regulated. No. So every crypto you can do securities fraud in. I just believe there's signs there, and I'm not saying I'm all seeing, but like, would you invest in someone that ran a company from a non-extraditable country, from a different country that you're investing in? Like, wouldn't that be a red flag?
Bro.
Yeah, but it was they told a really good story around him. He was giving his whole net. People probably started looking, and that was like the 2 weeks later he announced that he was going to give away $20 billion, and then like all that noise got rid of it. They did a really good job telling the story.
That's publicity, of course.
His family came from education, from Stanford, obviously all the political ties. Then you have Mr. Wonderful and Giselle and Tom Brady and all these people promoting it. It's like at that point, who's going to question it?
Yeah, you get the Larry David Super Bowl commercial. Yeah. It just seems so legit.
I think outside of what happened, the most interesting part was that he posted bail for $250 million.
Yeah.
Wild.
What he was supposedly only
said he had 100,000.
That's what I'm saying. That to me is more interested of what happened.
Was it 250? Is it 250? But that's only 10%. You only got to put 10% down.
No,
right?
not with that case. You got to put it all up.
No
Still
way
20,
you do. That's
25.
bail bonds, man. I call that guy up and say, I got the 10%.
No bails, no bail
Got that
bonds
cash
man
money,
would be
bro.
able to
I
take
got
that
I
on.
put my watch down on it.
25.
Another interesting thing too, because I mentioned that I saw Sam's face on a billboard and I was like, oh man, I don't trust that guy. But what I ended up doing, like when I first got into crypto, is researching all these different exchanges. I found the most trusted founder, 5-time, like a guy sold 5 companies in his life, Alex Machinsky. I trust this guy. This guy has a winning track record. He's got 5 children. He's in like he's like a level person. And do you guys know who Alex Machinsky is?
Never heard of him.
He's a founder of Celsius.
Oh, okay.
So
The energy drink?
No, the crypto exchange.
The one that went bankrupt.
the one that went bankrupt. So I lost a lot of money in one that with a founder that actually looked completely
Legit.
trustworthy and legit and actually had a winning track
I
record.
guarantee he didn't lose because of lying, though. Like,
He
I
didn't
think
lose because of lying. It was the
Over
it
leveraged
was-
and being greedy.
Yeah, and it was the government's the way that they started regulating those types of exchanges that were doing all the crypto lending. I was also going to say too on this topic, with the Sam Bankman-Friedmans and the
Billy
McFarland's, like how many of those people have you guys encountered in your real business life that just don't happen to be major famous celebrities, but they, I mean, maybe I'm 26, so I'm still learning, but I've been screwed over by so many real life Billy McFarland's in my life and business. And I think it's like there's so many people out there like that.
There's a lot of Billy McFarland's. Billy McFarland was one. I honestly think if that storm didn't happen, if it didn't start raining the night before, it wouldn't have been a good event. He wouldn't have gone to prison for 5 years. Like he would, and there are plenty of people that have gone down that lying rabbit hole that have ended up coming out the other side. Okay.
And just shook it off.
Yeah, but then they go to the next one, the next one, the next one. They have the same mentality, and eventually it falls apart.
I think, right, like the way we consume the news, right, kind of creates that narrative, which is a question I wanted to follow up on you for the traveling. We villainize him here, and I'm not defending him. I think it's horrible what he did. I don't want to say that. But how much of that, like, is part of the news? Because you don't hear much of everything else that went on, right? So like when you're in Europe or when you're in another country, how does the news like is reflected in society compared to here? Because I think news runs this society. Do you see that the same everywhere else you've been traveling to?
Is the question specifically about FTX or just how does news in general?
Just news, because right now we're having a notion about what happened in FTX, almost like a narrative that's being pushed. We don't necessarily know if everything on the news is true. Do you see that same narrative being pushed in other countries you've been at?
Yeah, I mean, my immediate response is like I'm like where I get my news is mostly in my network. So like the group chats I'm in and friends that I have
peer to peer.
Yeah, peer to peer. Yeah, and so I guess wherever I am, I'm sort of sharing ideas, thoughts with the same people, news articles from the same people. And then also I read a lot of Twitter, but I think you're asking more so like if you go out on the street in Italy and something's happening in the world, like what are the locals talking about? I don't know. I mean, this summer wasn't the most like cultural experience. It was like a lot of like partying and stuff. I wasn't partying as much, but my friends all were. But I mean, yeah, and I say that because I wasn't honestly paying attention as much to like A, news, and B, how like the culture around me was reacting to it. Especially because the locations I was in were more so like, if you're in Croatia Yacht Week, like your skipper's not talking about FTX like on the boat, like so.
Are you still documenting those adventures like you were in college, or is it more like behind the scenes now?
I am not as much in college. I was daily vlogging, video of my life every day.
Just edits, voiceovers, the whole nine.
Exactly. Yeah. And now it's more like once a month, but I post on Instagram stories pretty often, just whatever's happening.
So go follow because it's probably fire. No, go ahead, bro.
Has anybody seen anything in the news that was shocking this week then?
Dude, I was following the Idaho murder case like a fucking lunatic.
He was. This guy's like glued to the screen.
I love Dateline. That's like my refresher at the end of the day. I try and get like my day off of business. I'll hit the bong. And I'll just sit there. And
I don't understand.
Bianca will come out until midnight. Like, are you going to go to bed? Are you going to go to bed? I'm like, I'm still thinking. But I watched Dateline. The Idaho thing, like so early on into it, I was like, this is definitely somebody that's closely tied to these people. Or there's some college kid that's walking around campus and the word's going to get out. And I just like the whole thing of the fact that like, I don't know if you guys saw him getting pulled over on the drive back from Idaho to Pennsylvania with his father, but it's one of the most eerie things.
Yeah, just explain it for the people that might not have.
Yeah, so this lunatic who went to University of, I'm going to screw up my states here, but University of Washington or something, some school in Washington that was right on the border of Idaho, drove 15 miles, murdered 4 college kids in the middle of the night, and nobody, the police were acting like they didn't have any knowledge of it.
No CCTV, nothing.
Until like 6 or 8 weeks in, like the victims' parents were freaking out, like, how do you guys not know anything? This investigation
the car
sucks,
disappeared, everything.
Yeah, but long story short, you realize that they did figure out early on who it was, but they needed to match the DNA at the crime scene to the DNA of, they ended up getting trash out of the father's trash at home in Pennsylvania and matching that to the crime scene. And on the way back, they were tracking him. You see the police pulling him over for tailgating too closely with the car in front of them. But really, the police officer is asking, like, where are you coming from? And the dad starts oversharing. The dad that didn't know his son just murdered 4 kids. And you see the kid in the driver's seat's jaw friggin' drop. And really, they were tracking him cross country until they had, so they didn't know so they knew he wasn't fleeing until they had enough evidence to make the arrest, which is crazy.
That's crazy because not to like, they had one previously, that Gabby Petrino, right? And Twitter basically solved it. So it was similar in this case too, where Twitter thought they were being
people got so emotionally connected.
Yeah. And I thought the first thing that I heard was that it was a stalker right from the jump. And it was weird because that kind of connotation left it wasn't a stalker anymore. And I was like, wait. And then when they showed the guy again, I was like, well, he was one of the, like, I guess he was quasi-stalking one of the girls.
The craziest part is that the kid was he was a graduate student studying criminal justice. They had him in Reddit threads putting these questionnaires in there asking past murderers, what were you thinking leading up to this? What was the first action you took? All this. So I think this sicko,
he was doing AMAs,
but he would have killed. But this kid would have kept going because like the amount of fuel this sicko was probably getting from watching his face everywhere and knowing he was getting away with all this. But I think he was going to go straight back to school like he did. And he was going to take this knowledge from murdering these friggin' poor kids and try and like adapt it in a sick way to his craft, which is legal, and it was just crazy.
Like Dexter,
like the perfect murder, like sick stuff.
Damn. So in weird way, what you're saying is he didn't get away with it. The cops were kind of on him from the jump, and they were just like playing dumb so that no one else kind of like blew up the spot.
Well, I think from like people 6-8 weeks in, they thought they had nothing. I do know they do know that they ended up taking the DNA from the father's trash in Pennsylvania, and you can tell if you guys watch tonight. Him getting pulled over on the highway, you can tell that the cop had no other intent other than figure out where they're going and make sure they were still on track to get to Pennsylvania. Like that's the way it felt when the cop goes up to the window. No ticket, gave him a pass. Where are you guys going? Where are you coming from? Dad starts talking too much. His jaw drops. A couple days later, he's arrested at his parents' house in Pennsylvania. Crazy. Sorry, guys. I love crime.
I love that.
No, that's part of it. That's a shocking news, right? Like, how many people were talking about that?
A lot.
We need a movie.
That Dateline, though, that's
late Dateline,
all that is just crazy. To, like,
well, immediately like I thought it's like the ex-boyfriend. Like normally shit's easier than that. This guy was just a lunatic from the town over. Like, you sicko.
Well, they were saying like there was some roommates that were either on a floor above. It was the first floor, right?
Yeah.
So there was people that lived upstairs, and the people that lived upstairs said that the house was so old and creaky that there was no way that you could even open a door in the place without someone hearing it.
Yeah.
The way that
people
he
are
got
giving
in
one of the surviving girls shit now because apparently she came out and she saw the murder and then didn't call for 8 hours. There's some like conspiracy theories around.
Bro,
the
if
people
you were
that were in the house.
drinking hard, because I went to the Harvard
You're a
of the West,
20-year-old kid,
Chico
yeah.
State, and I went to the Harvard of the West, and we used to drink real hard up there. If I went in, like, in one of my brown out, blackout phases, if I walked out of the bathroom,
Yeah, you think you're
and
hallucinating. You're like
thought I was seeing something crazy. I don't know if the first thing I would do is to go grab the phone and call the cops.
Yeah.
That's like one of those. You ever hear those, like, when the cops call and they're like, I can't feel my hands. Like,
Yeah.
that's like one of those calls. You don't want to be that guy. I want to
crazy.
make sure I was seeing what I'm seeing. But also, if you were seeing that, that's probably pretty traumatizing.
So
So,
it's crazy. Do we have any non-dark news? I
yeah.
apologize.
Who's got the
ChatGPT?
I wanted to jump on that too. Does
And then like Lalo wanted to say something. Lalo was like, my turn.
what do you know, Lalo? You
I'm excited to talk about this.
yeah.
Sure. I'm just thinking about earlier how you said that those people are with the crazy stories. I was thinking of a story that I heard with this guy calls the cops and he thought his hands were scissors.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
You should all go Google that. He's like, oh, I'm going to cut some stuff now. He's like running a tangent with the cops. He's on some crazy acid or something, or some super. Some super high dosage edibles, but who knows?
Sugar.
I'm really pumped on this ChatGPT though. I'm not sure if anyone's really privy on what the open AI is.
I've been diving into it pretty heavily.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you have been.
Well, as a creative, I'm always scared of AI. It freaks me out, right? Because I don't want anyone
Same.
to just like jump in and take over creating creative artwork. So I was one of the first early adopters. I was like really on the early TikTok threads and caught on really early. And I think I read something that they had 1 million users faster than any mobile app or any basically any user
ever.
ever, like in 3 days too, right?
Wow.
And I heard that also ChatGPT is also spending $3 million a day just in server fees because of how many people are using it right now. And is everyone aware of what this is?
Yeah, I know. I heard some cases of things that were incredible. Like this person built a whole software using that.
What's his name?
I forget the guy's name.
I'm pretty sure he founded Y Combinator.
Yes.
Which is Y Combinator is like the place to go. Airbnb was founded at a Y Combinator. I think Snapchat was founded at a Y Combinator. Like a lot of the biggest unicorn companies of like the 2010 era were all through Y Combinator.
The biggest incubator, yeah. He did a whole, I don't know the specifics of the software that he did, but instead of hiring 4 or 5 engineers to do this, he literally told
Sam Altman.
Sam Altman.
He told the program or the AI to say, hey, I want you to do this, this, and this. And it did it in a record time, and it saved them. Upfront, right? Building the software is probably the most expensive thing when you're starting out, right? And then maintaining it and stuff like that. Imagine if you can build Hoobie in a week.
Yeah.
For like
It's scary.
a tenth of the price.
I literally did a poll just before coming here about AI stuff, and I had a guy respond. I run a marketing agency. I can do everything from banging out 100 social media posts in an hour to 1,500 word blogs. I also like the interface and formulas. AI software is all great. It allowed me to cut my overhead by 80% in 60 days. And he followed up to say, he had 10 blog writers on contracts to do SEO writing. He cut 9 of them. And then the one he kept is now responsible for he uses Jasper, which is specifically for
this kid's
copywriting and
about to get
stuff.
fired by all of his clients because they're going to start doing it themselves.
Yep.
Not necessarily, because you need to hire someone to do it anyway.
So like there's got to be a guy that's going to be the learner of the commands, right? So like how I speak to AI is now I'm the commander of AI, and like I'll learn how to harness the commands in a better way so I can speak to it in the most unique and precise.
And you still have to like proofread it and make sure it's on brand, and it's
still going to be inaccurate in certain aspects, and like especially for SEO and like large, like especially informational.
How relatable can it be though?
Well,
it's really good.
You should tell them the story. So I've got a buddy, Baruch, who's a Hoobie investor, and Baruch's best friend, who he lives with, is a guy named Olaf Carlson Wee, who was the first employee at Coinbase, and then he founded Polychain Capital or whatever. The kid's worth $3 billion. He lives in a $30 million house in the hills. And they invited me over 2 weeks ago to go to talk about this new project. And they got access. They're best friends with Sam. And so they got access to the API for Chat AI. Sam essentially said to them, like, hey, we know how to build all this stuff. We don't really do the consumer facing stuff that well. You guys can package something. We'll give you this additional access. And so can you give a little rundown on Ninja or whatever?
Yeah. So it's called Work Ninja, workninja.com. And I was just talking to Baruch earlier. and they purchased workninja.com. They purchased ninja.com. They spent over a lot of money. I'm not going to say how much, but they spent a lot of money on basically owning the word ninja. And they are basically what they specialize in is, and they have access to ChatGPT 4. Right now, the only thing available to the public is ChatGPT 3. 4 can basically create undetectable essays to plagiarism. So they specialize in essays, mainly for students, like they're going after students in colleges, and it can write a unique essay. Every single essay written by the algorithm is unique.
But they're wild.
He was explaining,
wild.
and he was explaining what they do is like, so it writes the essay according to the prompt that you give it. Like, explain why Les Mis shifted culture in a 650 word, essay, and then it'll write the essay, and every 3 words it will replace it with like a synonym, so that it will rephrase it, so that, because the other issue with colleges right now is that some kid, it was like, it went viral on Twitter, made an algorithm that could detect ChatGPT.
Well, see, that's what I saw. Yeah.
But this one has ChatGPT 4 undetectable.
It was almost like remember
like everything is unique.
Like plagiarizer, like where you would like steal a bunch of plagiarizing, and you go make an essay, and then they had plagiarizer, like your teachers, so they could go and make sure that
they can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
The essay can write its own stuff.
Schools are just going to stop having essays as part of the stuff.
But also, isn't that like GPT-3 is currently taking in all of the information, and GPT-4 is kind of like where it's kind of incubating. Yeah. So it's no one's really playing around with that.
What's crazy? They don't even have the most powerful processor. NVIDIA has it, and ChatGPT doesn't use it. So like, to think about the computing power, like the biggest chip, right? I don't know if you guys heard, it's like the size of this room. And they're not using that power, and that's how good it is. Imagine when they start using these like overhyped or overpowered processors.
So is AI good or bad though in the long run?
Well, we're heading toward the singularity, I think, whether we like it or not, which is when I think it's already proven we're at the point where some computers can replace some humans.
Yes.
But the singularity happens in 2045 roughly, where a single computer has higher computing ability than every human on Earth combined. So all 8 billion humans, one computer is more intelligent and can do more things. And at that point, I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like it's kind of like, I was thinking about it a little earlier, like, I feel like it's kind of like how we respond to like ants, where it's like, are we going to go destroy a bunch of ants? No, but we might accidentally. And yeah, we're just clearly far superior.
If the ants fuck with me, I might just put a little cement on the top and crush them all, right?
Yeah.
The issue, I think, would be like, it's computers creating culture, right? Like at one point, it's not going to be relatable, or they're going to the computer might push like an agenda, right? Collectively. If one computer is going to be smarter than every human combined, what if it pushes an agenda for something, right? Like, how do we know that?
What would its agenda be though? Because it's also really related.
Not its agenda. I'm just saying, like, for example, like during an election, you see bad press for one person and a lot of good press for another, and there's like a villain and a good guy and all this stuff. That's an agenda that's pushed, right? At one point, like when everything is AI, then, how do you know that the content you're simulating is real? How do you know that that comes from a person and not just a computer? Because
you don't know. Today, you don't know.
No, but you don't know that it comes. You do know that it comes from a person, right? Because you physically can see it. But like when the content is like overwhelmingly on the AI, you don't know if like that's really not that person. I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly, but like you don't know if that thought is that person's. Right now, you kind of know if the thought is that person, right? Like you can see a thought. It's not perfect, right? It's not like a perfect idea. With AI, I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to detect that there's no mistakes. Like in any company along the way in marketing, there's
you can probably
errors.
tell it to have a few mistakes and make it sound more like a human.
Yeah, you can. I do it all the time. I ask it to be like a little more witty or dumb it down or say it not as high executive as it's saying.
Is that how you be texting me, bro? Chat AI?
Craziest thing.
Yo, you want to know who needs chat AI? I was telling Arlen on the way over. We have some friends that own OnlyFans agencies. You start having freaking these girls just responding automatically to like the 5,000 subscribers they have.
Swear to God, it's like a chat bot.
All night long. They're just freaking Nikki. Like I got you.
I'll be all personalized with you too, and just talking about everything you feed me. I just start remembering too. Like you got a kid. I know you got a kid. You live in a house. I know you got like everything. I just start keying it right back to you.
So sort of on a similar train of thought is the news about the fission or fusion. Do you guys hear about this? Like it's like they discovered how to make essentially like unlimited energy.
Oh yeah.
Yes. But is that like Nikola Tesla did that, right? And they killed that.
And they shut it down.
Yeah.
But
why did they shut it down?
The AI is going to figure out how to do that, and then the AI is going to harness that power somehow. So I don't know. I just know that like.
So you like an optimist or a pessimist?
I think I'm just excited to see what happens.
Okay, yeah, he's just riding, he's just buckled up. He's just like, let's go.
Exactly.
I like it.
Are you an optimist or pessimist?
I'm always like a glass half empty kind of guy. But I think that's just because of how I was raised. I'm always like looking at the negative
scarcity,
so that I'm like, so if it doesn't happen, I'm happy. But if it does happen, I was like prepped for it.
Yeah.
Right. I'm never like that. I've always appreciated people that can go into something and just never see any negative in it and like always see the good in it. And like, especially for business people, they're always just like, boom, they're like starships. And I'm always the guy that like when they're telling me their plan or their pitch, I'm always like,
I think like part of goal, like the next generation has to think about what they want their profession to be based on like what can a computer not like what's so far fetched from a computer being able to get up to that. And like that's why I'm not worried about my baby boy because like he's not going to be. I'm not the math guy. I'm not solving the problems. I'm not an engineer. I'm not building shit. I've always been
You're also not the low laying fruit that's going to be like talking to like customer support.
No,
or
I know, but
IT.
I'm saying too. Like I've always been like people will always do business with people. There will always be these layers on top of the computers that are the ones making, and there may be decisions being made by the AI, but there will always be at least for my life and my boy's life, there will be a layer of humans on top of that have more power than the computers that can pull the toggles for the computers. That's my belief. I know you're going to say that like the world's going to get taken over by AI.
I don't know, but I'm also like trippy, like a super space case in the sense of like a Matrix kind of thing. Like when people say like, the simulation or something like that, I play into that because I'll drive on a road and I'll be parked behind a bus and I'm in a two-seater car with like a small mid console, probably the equal distance width of the bus, and the bus has two seats, a middle lane, and maybe another two seats or another seat. So like, how does the bus width take up the same lane that I'm in? It's almost like that's a perfect like gap in the Matrix. You know what I mean?
You're saying how is a bus as wide?
How many seats are on a bus? Like
he's saying there's 8 kids sitting cross. I can reach my door to my right. How the hell are we taking up the same
kids
amount
are
of space?
small.
No, but like even a regular bus,
like 8 seats.
Like you pull up behind like a regular metro bus, right? There's at least 2 seats, a lane, a full walking lane, and then maybe a twisted seat. So it would
so
say
you think that the Matrix is not.
I think it's like
mathematically correct.
No. Well, he's saying like if you're in a car. Right?
Yeah, I think there's a glitch in the Matrix in a sense. Yeah. So when I'm on a bus, I'm in a bigger room, but when I'm in a car,
secret. We figured it out.
Yeah, when I'm in a car, I don't feel it. I don't know. That's where I'm always talking about. It's a simulation. That's where my brain goes. So
because of that, that's funny.
Yeah, because of that exact thing. Like I can't equate why the bus is so much wider than the car. I just blew everyone's mind. Everyone's like turning off and Googling a bunch of shit. I'm probably wrong. That's why we need like a Jamie, like from Joe Rogan.
We got a fact check guy. He just didn't bring a computer today.
Google it for us.
He's gonna go off memory to fact check. Is he lying? Fact check guy.
He was shaking his head. Fact check guy was shaking his head, saying, "I'm in it."
I know we was gonna talk about buses today.
You didn't research.
I didn't bring my bus book.
I gotta research buses.
No, but I just like a Matrix guy. I think it's all like we're just living in a.
So is Arlen.
In a bubble.
You guys want to get Arlen juiced up and start talking about Tate? Yeah. Arlen's
in
coming
jail.
back to get his hair
Actually,
buzzed
what
next
is he
week.
doing? Yeah, no.
Who's Tate?
Andrew Tate. You know.
Oh, Andrew Tate. Yeah. What's up with Andrew Tate? Does he really sex traffic?
Hey, guys, we're not trying to get canceled, bro.
I mean, this is in Romania. This is going to air many hours later than
it's not
going to air in
Romania
Romania.
that I'm worried about, bro. It's America.
Is he a cancel culture like term now? We can't say Andrew Tate.
No, you could say it. It depends what you say about him.
Did you hear that?
I didn't say he was like
in the
not
hospital
doing what he might have been doing.
I like Andrew Tate because I like this is before any of the, and I have no idea what's going on with the sex trafficking stuff. I just like how rattled he gets some of the fucking like far liberals. Like my sister, who might as well be from middle America, who loves reality TV, who freaking is, if she wasn't directly related to me, I'd be like, oh, that girl's a tool. Andrew Tate drives her fucking insane. I shouldn't say that. I love my sister. If I copy and pasted my sister's personality into a complete stranger, I'd be like, that person's a fucking idiot. But he rattles her. Bianca,
so when he
too.
says like I'm like the most Googled person in the entire world, like we always
true.
like, is it really?
Yeah.
No, he was mad. There was like a 90-day window there. He's been big around it, but there was like a 90-day window there where he had that TikTok shit going, where when he didn't have any accounts, because Arlen knows a lot about Andrew Tate's world, but he had all of Tate University or whatever, Hustlers University, they were all creating these TikTok accounts, and there was all of these freaking TikTok accounts that weren't his, that were posting him constantly. I was scrolling through my feed, and it was like all Andrew Tate.
Wait, what is Hustlers University?
It was
Why
one
did
of
I
the
never
most
get accepted?
intelligent. It was one of the most intelligent, like creative marketing strategies I've ever seen. I think in the world has ever seen. Like first of all, he's obviously extremely controversial. So if he comes on a podcast like this, every few sentences you could clip, put it on TikTok, and it would go viral. So he did podcasts for like 10 years. Then he made a folder of all of them and put it in a Google Drive folder. So put a pin in that for a second. Then he made a university called Hustlers University, which is $50 a month. And he basically hired verified millionaires. So a crypto millionaire, so someone who trades crypto, copywriter who does 7 figures a year copywriting, video person, and hired a bunch of different experts and gave them each kind of like a role. And then when you join the university, what happens is it asks you, do you have a lot of money and not a lot of time? Do you have a lot of time and not a lot of money? What other skills do you have? What interests do you have? And it places you in the university that suits your best skill set.
Oh, so it's a real your Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's a real functioning. I know some of the people that were the professors for the university, and they're really fucking smart. They're some of the smartest people I know.
He hired getting paid.
They got paid a percentage of the revenue.
Okay.
So then what he did is one of the ways you could make money.
But he had $100,000 at $50 a month, so he was doing $5 million a month in revenue.
Yeah. So
beautiful.
one of the ways
in Romania,
one of the ways you could make money is you could become an affiliate. So he had 6,000 people go into that folder of 10 years of podcast content where everything he's saying is viral. And he gave them an affiliate link, and he said, go make your own accounts, use my content, and you get it's $50 to join. You get $25 for every person you get to sign up.
Whoa.
So he taught them the branding of the accounts, and then he had thousands of kids making his accounts for him, promoting his university for him. And he taught them how to do that.
How did he get big enough to promote the university?
What I just said.
No. Just going on podcasts. Before that, what made him relevant?
We can all just make our own university.
He was kind of like me, honestly. He would just go on podcasts, make some YouTube videos, talk on Twitter, and then one day he had this idea. So he had 100,000.
He's got a cousin. He's got a cousin or something that's like the minds, right? Or
yeah, his cousin was the operations person behind the
but I think he saw like you are, and it was probably good timing too. It was like we're in this moment in time where it's like you can get a lot of people pissed off or excited by saying things, like giving your real opinions online. And he was like, Andrew, you're perfect for, like, if you actually lean into this, like people are just ready to cause a fuss over anything people say online right now. And he leans so heavy into it. Like there's a reason he's leaning into. I don't think a lot of the shit he doesn't say, like one of the 10 things that is like so over the top that he doesn't really mean. He's like, I need to get one in there so fucking I can irritate all the feminists on this side, and they'll start resharing my shit and talking shit to me and putting more comments on there, whatever, and it's just going to pick up and it's going to be this whole stir. I think he understands
provocative
marketing.
Marketing. Yeah, I think Ty Lopez was one of the OGs of that too. Do you guys know who Ty Lopez is?
I know Ty Lopez, yeah.
Yeah, he understood.
Isn't he retired now?
You kind of look like Ty Lopez.
Me? I'm like 1.5 feet taller, bro.
Maybe just the glasses. Ty Lopez over my head. I don't even know who this guy is.
Oh, he's like, do you ever remember that YouTube commercial that was like, here in my garage, just got this new Lamborghini here, but you know what I like more than my Lamborghini? knowledge. And then he shows like behind the Lamborghini, he has all these bookshelves. You remember that guy?
Yeah, I remember that guy. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, exactly. See, that he understood like people are going to hate you, but if they're hating you, they're talking about you.
So do you think that that Andrew Tate was doing it intentionally? The whole shtick is fake.
Absolutely, it's not fake. He definitely believes a lot of the things he says, but he intentionally.
But then when he goes and says
like
girls are men's property, like he takes it an extra step to like nail it home. I feel like, he has like reasons why he says that are like real, but he doesn't. He knows that he's saying it in a way that's going to piss people off.
But even things like with the Muay Thai thing, where he's like a fighter and he like would be able to like handle the business if it came to him. And they have like a video of him fighting and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, is that like a more setup, or is that just coincidental, or is that?
He was a kickboxer.
Okay, so that's he can really kick some ass too.
I think like even I heard Joe Rogan, and I think it might have been the Dave Portnoy one, but they were talking about Andrew Tate, and they're like, people from that world, from that kickboxing world, it's like there's not a lot of money in it. He's like, those guys are freaking psychos. He's like, I'm not surprised that Andrew Tate's a lunatic. There's definitely a tough world, and I don't know where he was kickboxing, but
it's a primal instinct
to like
to not say exactly what you think. But if you're 6'4", you've knocked out 70 like fiercely dangerous other men, and there's two of you. Like he has a twin brother, or not twin, but he has a brother who is also a kickboxer. Like you're probably going to say whatever you want.
And you're less fear of. Where did we just watch that the other day? Where did I hear that?
What?
Somebody was literally saying exactly what you just said about like the fact that like people that just overall numbers, somebody that is willing to defend themselves, and they're going all the way back to like what are like human instincts. Like somebody that is physically able to defend themselves are X times more likely to stick up for their opinion or to say like, I don't agree with that. I mean, and I think I guess it's in the Andrew Tate case, but it is interesting. Like unique thoughts come a lot more from people that are physically willing to defend themselves. Just if you look all the way back in time,
they're not afraid of straying from the crowd, because if you stray from the crowd, you face the potential of being attacked by the crowd.
Might have been Andrew Tate that was saying that. I'm an idiot.
Probably was.
Yeah. Do you think he makes it out okay after this?
Yeah, is he unscathed?
Does he become bigger?
As of right now, he has the sexual assault allegations.
Well, I don't.
So obviously, if he was like sex trafficking women, he should be put in jail forever.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't think anyone knows the definition of sex trafficking, and I think it's different in every place you go. And the reason I say that, and I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but I think that there was something said about the fact that his job early on when he was running the OnlyFans agency was to go on dates, make girls fall in love with him to the point that they would do anything he asked. Hence, they would go back, they would take this content, and then he would create all these online profiles for them or whatever it was. Is like, are in certain places in the world, or is that considered, is manipulating a girl into a position where she's completely reliant on you and that she doesn't know any better and you're in a place of power and you make her put content and maybe she doesn't even know where he was distributing that content online. Like, can that be categorized as sex trafficking? Maybe it can. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's like when people are saying sex trafficking, I think people are picturing Andrew Tate with girls and friggin' chains and bringing them like
some Saudi on
exactly.
Little like.
But I think it could be more subtle than that. He could still get convicted of it.
And to that, I think he definitely did that shit.
No, he said that. I think
he did say that.
Yeah. So if that's considered, but I do think that there's a lot of people that think like, oh, it's what's that movie where he's like, good luck.
Then what's the line?
Taken,
though?
yeah.
Like, okay, hold on. So what if you're? So I have a girlfriend. What if like times got tough, and I was like, hey, we got to do OnlyFans now. Like, if we want to feed the nephew,
if we want to go to Dubai,
is that sex trafficking? I don't know. I mean, okay.
No.
So what is the line?
What Andrew said is that it was some girl that was like completely. And you come in this mic. Is that mic on?
Hi guys, I'm going to speak for the females here.
Yes, thank you.
Female representative.
Let me start off by saying it's respectable what he has done and his business strategies, but his choice of words is not the best. And of course, for every celebrity, that's your typical PR stunt. Mm-hmm. But the stuff that he has pulled and some of the side note, I'm a makeup artist and I work closely with a lot of OnlyFans girls and models and etc.
So
And
plug
some
us
of
on
the
the
things,
side.
Welcome to Vegas.
yeah, welcome to Vegas, guys. There's with OnlyFans, there's a line between wanting, it's your girl, you guys are doing it together, or you're helping her, supporting her. The difference is he started with the agency where he signed girls up and there's contracts. And that's the difference. Once there's contracts, there's so many other things that can.
What's the difference between that and porn? There's contracts there too.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I don't know, this is also a side note, like the whole Mia Khalifa thing. She only did porn for 3 months.
But she signed a contract, didn't she?
Right, exactly.
She knew what she was
Mia
trying to get
Khalifa,
into.
let's talk about this.
Yes,
What's going on
but-
here?
Hurrah! Hurrah! What's that?
No, so
Mazal?
the man that she dated at the time was involved with that, and she had no money, no nothing. So she signed up for it.
Oh, so she's part of this Andrew Tate experience?
Well,
She's Hustler University?
Different man, I guess.
I think that like I don't think
It's a really weird.
I know a lot of these
industry.
because a lot of the OnlyFans agencies use Hoobie, so I know a lot of the founders of them. But it's like I think a red flag.
just
I think
keyword,
a straight male running an OnlyFans agency is like a huge red flag right off the bat. Like,
Exactly.
what the fuck?
1,000%.
What are you doing there?
I don't want to sound insensitive, but like, was she forced to do it? She could have went and worked at McDonald's.
People can have change of like what I think what
You
happened
can't
here
like sign
based
a
on what Tate
contract
said
to do that.
or
No, what I'm saying, like the Mia Khalifa thing, right? Like, I don't know the whole 100% of it, right? Like, yes, she didn't have money. Yes, she was dating the guy. Yes, he was influential, but she still had a choice. She could have decided to go work at McDonald's, but working at McDonald's is not prestigious, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, do you blame her? Do you blame him? Or it is what it is? I'm not saying.
It's kind of like when you go on social media and you see all these people like flexing their money and flexing all of this, like, oh, they're going on planes and taking all these big trips. The life looks great, and all they're doing
manipulation.
is that. Yeah, it's a manipulation. They see that and they're like, okay, well, I can do that, and then they sign the contract thinking that's the life they're gonna get, not knowing like what all the other things that are gonna happen. Like for her, she got
a free yacht and an old man.
And famous.
What's it called?
And famous.
I don't know. AVN's like
she hasn't even gotten like most of the money. Like she barely made any money off of all the videos that she made. And what was I gonna say? Oh, she's talked about the one video where she had to wear the hijab on it. How she was really fighting it because that was, she comes from that culture and everything, and she knew that she would get death threats and all that stuff. And
Is that what you were saying?
Listen. That's BS now, because she didn't look like she followed the culture before.
Yeah, that's what Tate always says.
She's
Right?
like as Bianca would call me, she's a fucking gringo. She's from DC. She grew up like around Georgetown Prep. I think if I'm thinking of the right girl. She grew up in like the DC era. She was like a lacrosse
She had plastic surgery
She was a
before,
lacrosse fan, yeah.
right? She didn't get plastic surgery for the scenes. She had it before. So that's not following the culture, the religion right there.
True, but I mean, also doesn't have to be for the culture.
I know.
Well, what I'm saying
So
is,
the thing that I'm realizing though is people can make decisions along the way, and then especially in this culture, they can backdate 5 years and give a reason, and there might be some substance to it. Like they can say I was manipulated into this because of this, and there's actually substance and clarity to it. And even at that point, they were vibing, living this young life, and they wanted to be on that yacht, and they didn't think that old man was that gross at the point. They can go back in their head and say, you know what? I was fucking young and I was manipulated, and this is what happened. And there's still, I think, some claim there. You know what I mean?
Okay, I hear that, but there's some things you can't take back. Let's say you murdered somebody 5 years ago, and now you're a different person. You're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I'm not saying it's right.
Like, can you take that back? How is that different though? Like, you made the decision. Like, sometimes I believe we live in a country or in a culture where everybody wants a second chance, and not everybody deserves a second chance. Some decisions you can't come back from. My personal opinion, I don't know Mia Khalifa. I don't know I don't know the situation. I'm just saying, where's the guidance to let people know, like, hey, some things you can't come back from.
I don't think it's that right. I think there's obviously every situation is completely different. I think where the most of the cases carry some weight and some substance is if there's a power dynamic. If there's money involved, or it's a very wealthy individual or a political figure or whoever it is, and the claim ends up being, I didn't know at the time, as this young, naive, most of the time females, I didn't know the power hold they had on me. I've now removed myself from the situation. I can see it clearer. And I think that there's probably a lot of bad. There's maybe 50 or 40% of those people that are full of shit.
Where is that coming
wasn't
from?
she
though?
also jumping on Twitter, just like calling out random like celebs that were hitting her up in the DMs?
Yes.
Yeah, which is just
Probably.
douchey move.
So she got pretty popular off just like calling out like Wiz Khalifa and all these other like famous athletes like LeBron James and people like that were trying to get at her and stuff. I'm not saying like LeBron James, but like LeBron James. I'm not saying LeBron James, but LeBron James.
I'm saying, is that a question of society? Because
So she used like her own clout to like
There's
to clap back at these guys, and then almost like was like, "Hey, don't comment on it." And
it's
then,
like if somebody tells you right now, "Hey, I'm working at McDonald's. What do you think of him?" versus somebody that's going and selling ass on OnlyFans. Like, do you look at them differently? Like, how do you look at one? Okay, for
So
your,
you gotta fucking expand on that.
okay, all right.
McDonald's guys, the girls.
What I'm saying, okay, right now, it's popular to open up your OnlyFans and
selling
be a
ass at
business
McDonald's.
owner and be an entrepreneur and the hustle and bustle. You just sell, you're a sex worker versus somebody that's saying, you know what, I'm gonna bust my ass at McDonald's for 3 years. I'm gonna save everything I can. I'm gonna invest this money that I make. I'm gonna live a very minimal lifestyle, right? Like one of them is victimized.
I've learned to, I've learned to not pass. I mean, I think the more you're out there, like we live in Vegas now. It's like we end up, we go out. Bianca's like, oh my God, I love that girl so much. 3 days later, we find out she's a fucking wildly successful porn star. Like that's just the world we live in. So we become more accepting of some of this stuff. I don't pass judgment on this stuff nearly as much. If you go to like my hometown back east or to Arlen's hometown and 3 girls just started creating an OnlyFans and they became like big figures, like people would definitely be judging the fuck out of them. They'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? What is your daughter doing? They'd be getting looks, all that shit.
But here they just had the like sex porn star convention,
But
right?
one
That's,
of them
like,
is look
normalized.
like you're an entrepreneur, you're a business person, you're building a company, you're creating income, and the other one is looking like you're just working at McDonald's, right? Like you're just an employee.
you're the devil. Does your McDonald's have like a link
I'm just saying McDonald's as an example,
to like a
but
follow?
like if you say out loud, hey, I'm gonna start A versus B, working at McDonald's and your OnlyFans career, right? One of them you almost get discarded, right? Even though it takes longer.
I heard that you could be like if you work
I'll give you this example. We've been fortunate enough to go to like some of these really high-end restaurants, right? And we're sitting next to lawyers and doctors, and I'm in here with my hoodie or a hat on, and they're looking at us like, what are you doing here, right? And you know, conversation will start up. I'm a barber. Like, how are you here as a barber, right? You're almost looked down upon, right? But if I were to go to school and become a lawyer and get in debt and take me 10, 20 years to pay back college and all this stuff, now I'm a prestigious person in society when my startup cost for a barber was completely different. So I'm saying like what's victimized, what's not versus taking the long route.
So you're saying, what does it matter? You're sitting at the same table at the end of the day. You're eating the same steak. What does it matter if I did this to get there or if I did this to get there?
I'm saying, yes, what does it matter? And then as society, do we look down upon, and I'm saying we because I'm part of society, as a person that's taking the long route?
I think it's all case by case. I think there are lawyers that I look at. I'm like, I have so much respect for you. There are other lawyers that I look at that are doing like the fucking bust, like you bust ran over my toe shit or whatever, and that are just scumbags. and then the same thing. There are plenty of OnlyFans people out there where I see the hustle. I see the respect for like the business that they're trying to create. That they're not doing it in a gross, unclassy way. But like I think it's all case by case. I don't pass judgment on any specific industry. I think there's cool ways and right ways of doing things, and I think there's wrong ways of doing things.
What if you were an OnlyFans creator, whatever, top 1%, and you took all that money and you were feeding homeless with it? You literally didn't spend any money at it.
It's dope. I think there was.
Would you be looked at the same in society?
Well,
Probably.
Would
just
you be
because-
known as the person that's solving homelessness
There was
in
some
Las
girl that
Vegas?
did that during the
Well,
pandemic.
you're
Yeah, I was
solving
about to
that, but
say.
you're also creating porn addiction in young people.
Okay,
is
which one
really
outweighs,
good.
right? Which one's
Arlen did that. Yeah, hell, like I had that conversation with Arlen a couple months ago. Like Arlen looks down on people that look at porn. Kind of.
I don't look down on people that look
But-
at porn.
but you
I
think-
think it's a problem.
Yeah.
I think that you're programming. We were talking about the Kardashians,
Yeah.
and I was saying how yes, the Kardashians have built a pretty impressive empire, but the ideas that you're putting in a little boy's head about this is what a woman should look like. She has to get fake boobs and a fake butt to be attractive, and that's what you're telling the little girls too. Like you have to look like her in order to get attention from boys, and take that, compare that to porn. It's like, I mean, I've talked about it. Like I had a porn addiction when I was a kid. Like that screwed me up a lot. So I think it's a major. I mean, look at like Palestine.
When you said porn addiction, he was like every 17-year-old. He watched porn like fucking every day.
So you were normal.
I was normal.
No, I always thought it was
exactly.
weird. Like I'd watch porn like by myself. I always thought it was weird when you go over to that house and someone was like, your buddy would be like, "Yo, I'm gonna turn on some porn for us." And you'd be like, "Nah, bro, we don't watch this together." And he'd be like, "Just turn it on," and then they just like go back to the conversation.
Wait,
You had an
wait,
interesting
y'all
life
really
growing up,
did
bro.
that?
Yeah,
You had
people
to
do that.
Y'all
I had a
porn
TikTok.
parties?
I had a
People do that. People-
listen. I had a
Kanye used to do that.
I had a TikTok go viral about this. So I was explaining how girls don't know this, and this might get clipped again, but when, first of all, it was a completely different time when we were like 10,
We were
11,
watching
12.
like
If you wanted
DVDs
to
of
watch
Cancun.
porn, you needed to have DVD or your friend's house with the
LimeWire.
irresponsible parents who
had,
have
like,
a
Spice
computer,
Channel.
and you can
Look
go
at
on
you
and-
judging the parents, the irresponsible parents who
They
left
are
the
the
fucking no
irresponsible-
password on the computer.
well, not the irresponsible parents, but the parents that didn't
Lenient.
care, the parents that hosted the sleepovers who didn't care if the kids drank or whatever or smoked in the basement. Like that's the kid's house you go to watch porn at. Because if your parents caught you watching porn, it'd be bad.
over. Yeah.
It'd be over. So you go to your friend's house and like often, I mean, I played on a sports team, so all the boys would like have a sleepover and then you go watch porn.
Yeah, I totally remember that. I remember even like, so for example, like my mom owned a video store, like a VHS rental store. And if you'd go in, we had a special section in the back for the adults only, like through beads and had like the XXX. And so they would bring them up and they were like in a brown box and you could tell the dads that like rented them. But at the end of the day, like I also was the kid that had to sit there and rewind them all, And so you would rewind, you'd see some stuff. And then at the end, they also like would create like a catalog. So like a Victoria's Secret catalog for porno. It was like a Playboy on steroids. And they would send it to all the buyers. And it would be like each couple pages would be like a 1-page synopsis of that porno, and then like a couple like graphic scenes of cuts of that porno, and it would just be like it was like 5,000 pages, and it was under my mom's bed. And I remember because she was like had to buy the inventory for the male section of her shop, so I would always like sneak up to her room and they were like, "Yo, you guys want to see a porno?" And they'd be like, "Yeah." Put it on, and I'd be like, "No," and I'd reach under the bed and pull out like this magazine, and they'd be like, "No, we've already seen Playboy," and I'd be like, "No, have you guys seen Penthouse?" And they're like, "Yeah, we've seen Penthouse." I'm like, "This is Penthouse times 10, times 10," and they're like, "No way!" And I would like flip through, and it was like all of the perversions too. So like as like a 12-year-old, like you might be stumbled into your dad's collection of what he was into, but I'm talking like as a 12-year-old stumbling into like the whole sex realm of like, gay porn, lesbian porn, like, just all kinds of crazy,
And
even
that's
like,
why you're a pessimist, bro.
yeah, bro, I've seen some dark shit in my life. And that was like one of the lead ways into it. But I feel like that definitely changed my whole outlook on females.
Hey
too.
guys,
What's up, guy? RD, you got excited? He heard
porn.
Yeah.
I'm here for it, bro. You know what I mean?
I've been signing.
I like what my boy said because it's very porn addiction. It's so real, bro.
Yeah.
And being introduced to the younger kids, it's creating a problem in men, right? Because it's so fun. We see what we like. What people fail to realize, right? What people fail to realize is what porn does to your head, right? It creates ideas, right? That's how sex is. For the most part, ain't nobody lasting 30 minutes, bro. Unless it's
Except for
Lalo.
Lalo.
Lalo said
Lalo,
that
he
he
goes
goes for
3
3
hours,
hours, right?
bro.
He said that. And then you take away the connection that sex creates with a couple. Right?
You were about to stumble on that one.
No.
Yeah,
It's the
think
connection,
about
bro.
it, like,
It's the connection because last podcast we asked Lalo, bro, why are you doing the whole semen retention, right? And he was, bro, because like if you wanna, please your partner and blah blah blah, it's there's more intimacy in sex, right? Than what we think. So when we talk about porn addiction, bro, it is a lot heavier and a lot more dangerous than what we think. And you, bro, coming over here and saying I had a porn addiction, bro. I respect you as a man.
Caps
for that,
off, Arlen.
I mean, it is
What were you watching?
psychological
What are you
war.
into?
It is a psychological warfare.
You like midget
tactic.
porn, don't you?
Yeah, I got in trouble in high school.
Israel went to the streets of Palestine and littered the streets with porn. Why? Because it distracts the men and makes the men weak. If the men are jerking off the whole time, they can't defend the battlefield.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it's porn makes men very weak.
Lalo, what do you think?
What are you saying, Jordan? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Shit, I don't know. I'm living pretty strong though.
Lalo, you don't have any urge to just look at some porno in the middle of the night, just like glance at some peeky, like a little peeky?
It's always nice, but it's only for like 0.3 seconds that it's nice. And no, I agree with every one of you guys. I think it's a crazy addiction. It takes time from, you can be creating some art, you can be creating some beautiful stuff, and no.
So how does that play? Like, do the young lady hustlers that we're talking about before? Our best friend Masha fucking rakes on OnlyFans. Like, is there any obligation there? Like, are they festering the streets with fucking porn to distract all the males and make them weak too? Or are they just out there hustling?
Or is it a lack of opportunity? Like, where else would she make that type of money?
No, but now she can claim it for her own instead of having to give it to like Larry Hustler or Larry Flynn or some other person, you know.
She
like,
owns the content.
Yeah, so it's hers, and she like dictates who can see it and what her price is, which
Right.
I think is like admirable.
At the end of the day, the responsibility is in the consumer,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right? Not in the person creating it.
but that's like if that was
I
the
mean,
case,
it's
then, like,
Odysseus. It's the story of Odysseus and the sirens.
oh, okay,
Oh,
yeah,
please.
Homer, I liked it.
Well,
yeah,
you know it, right? Like Homer's driving his boat in the sea, and he sees the sirens, who are like the beautiful
mermaid kind of
mermaids
concept.
on the rock, and all the guys on the ship are like, "Let's go talk to the
Wait,
mermaids."
this is Odyssey, the book?
yeah, and they're
Odysseus.
singing a song that's so
And they're
like,
singing this
like
song.
harmonic to the men that are
Yeah.
drawing them in that they actually crash on the rocks and die.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Then he
Did
fucks
they
his
crash
mom.
and die? Is that how it
I
ends?
think they crash and then they get
They crash
stranded
and they
on
get
the island.
screwed.
You had
Yeah.
one job, bro. Lean forward.
That's why that story is still relevant, because it's just happening in different forms.
Yeah, the siren will never go away.
So Johnny right here got one question.
Johnny jumping in. I like
So
it.
is OnlyFans popular because men are weak?
Yeah. Well,
OnlyFans only.
that's a good question.
Because
Is
RD
it
is saying it's on the consumer, right? So if we don't support it as men, so are we weak because we're subscribing to it?
I think there's a lot of chicks buying OnlyFans too for dudes, but I think we're weak, and I also think that I think yes, and I also think that there were a couple industries that had their time in the fucking sun during the pandemic, and timing was great for them. I think, like, obviously, like the QR code, for instance. People used to laugh
revival.
at QR codes 3 years ago.
hate that
QR
thing.
codes in the pandemic are like freaking
back like it's never been.
OnlyFans popped during the pandemic because the girls had nothing to do at home, and the guys purchasing it had nothing to do at home.
So I guess to answer your question, it all depends on the price. So if the price is and that's to each individual to base off a judgment base, right? So if like
sorry.
so like if you know, I don't think like so like if you went to like a Bang Bus or some one of those larger companies, right, and you pay for the monthly subscription, that's you get unlimited collateral and it's consistently updated. But if you subscribe to these OnlyFans accounts, they're based on what they determine their price be per month. Some of them are $5, some 10, some 30, depending on what it. And you could buy in a month
So
or
funny
2,
when
3
you see
months.
people comparing the OnlyFans to small businesses, though. It's like, get off of Brazzers. Like,
Yeah. I got the heat over here for cheap. You know, it's like sounds like a drug dealer in a sense.
So I'm trying to think, like, is it the men weak, or like what is it? I actually think it's going back to AI. It's the algorithms that are too strong. Like take Instagram. Like, you know, Jordan has Instagram deleted off his phone right now for focus. Why? Is it because Jordan's weak, or is it because
He knows
robots?
himself.
Well, no, but the robots, like the
Know what he
algorithm
wants.
knows what he wants, and it's not even like you don't
Yeah.
even play that game.
Yeah.
Like if you want to focus, like you're gonna lose. You know,
part of it's that.
it's
for
not
me,
that
part of
it's not
is-
that he's weak. It's just the algorithm's stronger.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
I wouldn't necessarily say that men are weak because, you know, like the whole like porn thing and stuff. And we also got to go back, you know, women weren't offered jobs or had the same opportunities. Obviously, you know, nothing has been equal. So the very first job that women had was selling sex, selling their bodies. And that has always been a thing and will always be a thing, just in a different form. So before 2020, it was a strip club. Strip clubs were closed. So now that's why OnlyFans came about. So it just comes down to, I think it's the lust that a lot of men go after. There's so much more that goes more into it, like emotional trauma and things like that, and not properly shown love and things like that, to where it stems down to why they are addicted to this fantasy and they watch all these videos because it satisfies something for them in their head that they know will never be reality to them. And it's that lust that drives them. And,
So you're saying throughout history, the one area where females held power over males, and I think it's true, is sex.
Yeah, pussy power.
Yeah, exactly. And
so like when the print magazine died, Playboy should have got on the OnlyFans game way before, and they still would have been just dominating the game, but they didn't. So now there's a whole new vibe.
They're trying the centerfold thing, and it's not working.
It's not
Like
working out.
Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Just to put it
like
out
my mom's
there.
video store, gone.
Just to put it out there, barber is the second oldest profession in the world. Hear me out. Because the first profession known to the world is prostitution.
Yep.
So were you the first of those two? So
Yes, sir. Barber is the second oldest
Which one did you
profession.
do first?
Next to prostitution.
What about cooks?
Now, here's the thing.
Came
Though.
like 20th.
I like what Alexis said, because at the end of the day, think about this: younger kids, younger boys. I'm gonna speak for men. They start watching porn early. They think that's how sex should look like. Then they meet this girl. They fell in love, but sex is boring, bro. Why is it boring?
Because you make it boring.
Because what?
You make it boring.
Of course.
You gotta keep it
Where
fun.
do you learn
Of course.
how not to make it boring, though?
You don't learn it from your uncle, bro, do you?
I would say through experience, but just having fun, buying toys, playing with each other. I don't know, the whole thing with intimacy. Going back to that, it's
Now you talk.
touch in different places, and yeah.
He's got the feather.
I think we're going to have to go home, guys.
We'll be right back. We'll be back in 3 hours.
With that said, man, how do you guys like having an audience in the podcast?
It's cool.
I thought we were going to be a little funnier, but I think we kind of missed the boat on explaining what Hoobie was, or was that the intent?
I used to say that.
Yeah, Hoobie's the preferred link in bio for the top creators and celebrities in the world. We've got people like Jeff Bezos, Tom Brady, Jay Balvin using our platform. We're going to continue to build for the creators, specifically in the top celebrities in the world. We are rolling out a membership offering for what we refer to as aspiring creators. We've grown to 14,000 users in the last year that reach well over 3 billion across social, but we also have 100,000 waitlist signups of people that have just been begging us to get on the platform. So we're going to start charging aspiring creators to join the platform. The focus right now is on that, and then.
Is that vacancy?
Is it also like, just to be like super ignorant, is it like a link tree or? Like
Yeah, it's like a link tree. It's a call.
It's link tree better.
It's a
2.0?
call to action page. It's built specifically for creators and celebrities. So we built more tools for that.
I see Sosa using it so much, and I'm like really intrigued by it. But I'm also on the wait list, so maybe one day I'll get
come on, we got you. But since the start, and I think one of the really unique things we figured out early on, and like we didn't just go. We kind of founded it by accident. I actually built something very similar to Linktree 4 or 5 years ago, and we revisited it during the pandemic because a lot of our friends are some of the biggest creators in the world, and they didn't like the solution Linktree was providing, with just the stagnant links. At that point, there was no like evergreen way to just link it and leave it, we would say from the start. So we built heavy with the integrations on different platforms, and then also we built because we have some of the biggest stars in the world using the platform. Jeff Bezos isn't going in there and editing his whole page. It's the team behind the scenes that oftentimes are managing 100 or 200 pages.
I love that I just put my YouTube channel one time and I don't ever have to touch it again.
Yeah, and so we built a really cool experience for the team behind the scenes, because if you want the biggest stars in the world, yeah, they have to, like Jeff had his wife was using it, and then he reached out, his publicist reached out because he was like, Jeff really wants one too. But it's like, you need to vibe with the teams behind the scenes if you want the biggest stars in the world, for the CAAs and the Octagon Sports and the WMEs. Like, that experience for them behind the scenes is be good. So we put a big emphasis on our community. It's a lot more to us than just building technology. We talk a lot about what does it mean to be a Hoobie member outside of the core technology itself. And it's been fun. We've got a lot of
on
great
that note too.
involved.
One of the reasons I wanted to kind of do podcasts along with Jordan is because Jordan kind of noticed that part of what I do, like with the social side of stuff, is like analyze my own behavior and analyze people who are really good at networking and analyze their behavior and try to explain it to people who that's not a strength for them. And Jordan's like one of the most socially like proficient people I've ever seen. Like as far as networking goes and being able to get in the same room and like influence people that he does, it's like, it's so impressive. So yeah,
I appreciate that, but it's to Darlin's point. Like Arlen will put me in front of all the kids he's mentoring, and like I've never put thought into my strategy before. I'm a vibe guy. I'm like how can I make this person feel good? Like how can I figure out a way to provide value for this person? But Arlen will sit me down in front of like 50 of his guys that are like on the edge of their chair, like eager to learn. Like, how did you do this? And I'm like, I have no fucking idea. Like I got to sit down for a couple hours and figure out how I did it.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. As soon as we started talking, it was like instantly just connected on so many people that we were like interconnected with. We won't drop names on these people.
And what I would say is when you meet someone, the easiest way to build a fast connection is mutuals.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was wild.
All right, guys. Any final thoughts?
That was fun, boys.
A lot of fun.
We got to have you back because this is just continue on. We can do a lot more of this.
Yeah.
Of course. And that's the whole point. It's not an interview type of podcast. It's like, let's just talk.
But congrats on the kid in the house.
Appreciate you, man.
Congrats on Cape Town. I hope it's going to be just super cool and convenient. And
I'm fucking jealous, man. He's seen more of the world than I've seen of the country.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, I've never even been out of the United States, so I'm super envious. Are you already?
I'm blessed, I guess.
We got our fact
Thank you for
check guy
having
about to
us.
say something.
Fact check.
I got one question for you, man.
Fact
'Cause I
check
know you were
over there.
talking about mentoring people, building a business, dating as well. Where's the line with wanting to be successful, but wanting that personal life? Like, because you hear a lot of times, like, if you want to be a millionaire, you got to isolate yourself. You got to no relationships, no nothing, work. But then you also hear you need a strong woman behind you.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question.
Because I know you said you had a partner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what's
And I mean, men, reach their like I think most attractiveness as they get to like in their 30s. And so for a guy who's like 21, 22, which is a lot of the age of the guys that are watching and listening to me, they're like, okay, well, do I date now or do I just like work until I'm a millionaire and then start dating? My input is actually generally always like, because I've had some really terrible relationships. I think you have to date to learn those lessons. And I do think that with the stuff that I share, I hope that I can help guys shortcut that. Because I mean, if we think back to, our grandparents' generation, like our grandparents maybe met at like 16, 17, got married at 19, 20, and they're together for 80 years and they're happy and more in love than ever. And I think that's beautiful. And so I think, I think if we can move culture, like I would love to move culture more toward that, if possible. But at the same time, I think that, you have to kind of go on your own journeys. But yeah, as far as like, do you not date and be celibate until and semen retention for 15 years? No.
Do you think
like from 20 to 35?
Do you think that media affected the way that our grandparents were able to put with their relationship for X amount of years? And do you think that social media has affected relationships nowadays?
Yeah, definitely.
They didn't have access.
Exactly, it's access. Like a girl has.
You were choosing from your town 50 years ago. That was the extent of it, or like the town
prettiest
you could
girl
get
in
to.
your town. Yeah, would get hit up by all the guys in the town. But now the prettiest girl in your town gets hit up by a million guys from all around the world. So that social media definitely screws it up a little bit.
Yeah, and then that's pumping her head. She's getting a big head. It's just like an unhealthy dynamic all over the place. It's like there's endless options out there for everyone. The idea, I think, of loyalty in relationships has like completely. It's like what is that line now? Like it's just wild. It's an unlimited menu of options out there in the world, and so I think it all comes down to like how much self-control do you have?
Mm-hmm.
Just be content.
Yeah, I'd say it's a lot of high expectations and a lot of fails with it.
It was fun, boys.
Yes, it was.
I appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Peace, love, and happiness.
We're out.